Hey, what's up guys? My name is Low009 and this is my first time making a video. I'm trying to just make content about this game. I really enjoy it and I wanted to go over the new patch notes that just recently dropped. But for Highguard, there is a new character, there's a new map, and a bunch of other really cool updates that I really want to tell you guys about. Let's get into it. And to start off, we have the introduction of the new character, Ekon. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but this guy is really cool. His main gimmick is that he can turn into a mount rather than just being on top of one. So he has a passive where he sees the heartbeat of enemies through walls when they're low HP, which is actually going to be really good. I think it's going to be a game-breaking ability, honestly. The tactical ability called Wolf Spirit is actually really good too. Its text reads, unleash Spirit Wolf to hunt the nearest enemy and apply dread. Now, we don't know what dread does, but listen to the next part of this. The wolf spirit travels long distances, moving straight through rocks and structures to find its prey. This is actually crazy, meaning it's going to be able to find enemies and, I presume, deal damage from the debuff. And I do think he's going to be really good because of this. Now, something to note is that this ability can be shot down, so you're going to have to use it and then play off it, but I still think it's going to be very good. His ultimate, Fearsome Howl, applies dread to all enemies across the map and increases your movement speed. Now, something to note about this guy, as I mentioned earlier, is that he becomes a dire wolf through his mount. In this form, his speed is faster than all other mounts, and he has a third-person POV, which can be pretty broken for seeing around walls. And he seems to have a dash ability that's going to be able to bite enemies, and will have a movement ability like the dash, except only procs when you're not targeting enemies. Another cool thing about this guy is that even on his mount, I say on his mount, but he literally is the mount, while in his mount form, he's still able to use all his abilities. So he's going to have amazing movement, especially coupled with his ultimate. I think it's going to make him a very good character. There's also a new map add. This one's called Skydrift, and from the picture, it looks like it's going to be a really fun and new map. It features these giant floating islands rather than the normal, like, full open world-ish maps that we have currently. So I think it's going to add a lot of diversity and, like, change up what characters are going to be good on maps. Because, like, Kai could be way better just from having that wall on this map rather than open maps. Or it could be worse because there could be more, like, natural walls since there is smaller playing fields. And it also mentions that this map is going to be added into the rotation for 3v3 and 5v5. I don't know how it's going to be in 5v5 with that many people. We'll have to see how big the actual, like, islands are. But, yes, all in all, very good addition. The next update is that rank mode is going to be dropping. This honestly looks really cool. Just from the graphic they have of, like, the two sides, I think it's going to be a great addition to the game. I cannot wait. I'm definitely going to be playing it. There is 7 total ranks. Going from the bottom to the top, you have bronze, which they call hare, silver, which they call goat, gold, which they call ape, platinum, which they call direwolf, diamond, which they call griffin, master, which they call manticore, and grandmaster, which they call leviathan. The format for it's going to be 3v3, and every single episode in the game is going to have 2 things they call rank splits, which will change the map and base list and include some balance changes. So that's going to be good, so there isn't one stale meta that it gets shaken up more. And they say everybody starts ranked for the first time at bronze 3, so I don't think there's going to be placements. Instead, you're going to have to play all the way up until whatever rank you eventually end up at. And they also know that each rank has 3 divisions, so just from those 2 pieces of context, we know that we're going from bronze 3 to 1, and then after that, we get to silver, and so on and so forth. They also note for D-ranking, you can only D-rank inside a division during a split. So, for example, they have it listed. By losing matches, you can D-rank from gold 2 to gold 3, but you cannot D-rank from gold 3 into silver 1. So that's going to be very good. So we are going to have a net that kind of keeps them safe. So once you get to a new, like, full division, you'll be fine. And so they say during the split, you cannot D-rank, which is going to be good, but they have this thing, which they say right after that, at the start of every episode, you will move backwards 6 divisions or 2 full ranks. So take that example again. Say you're in Grandmaster, you will D-rank all the way back to Diamond. Hey, this is Editor Loadup here. Just want to say that my example here was really bad, so I just kind of wanted to clarify a little bit. An actual good example would be from Diamond 3 down to Gold 3, because it's a loss of 6 divisions. The Grandmaster one, I don't know if there's actually any divisions for that, so just ignore that one. That's the better example. Enjoy the rest of the video. So I think it's going to be good because we have that. We have the safety net that is the D-ranking, how they're doing that, which honestly, it works well. Lastly, they note that you will be rewarded based on the rank you achieve at the end of each episode. That's gonna be kind of cool. I know I used to play a little bit of Marvel Rivals, and they had that same thing where you got to certain ranks, you can get like a skin. So I actually really like that. It kind of shows like that you're like pretty good at the game. Continuing on ranked, you can only match with people that have a 2-tier difference, and 2 people in a party must be within 1 tier of each other. A full party of 3 can mix in with any ranks, but you'll be queuing into the rank of the top ranked player. So if I'm gold and I'm queuing with 2 people who are in bronze, then we're only going to play in gold lobbies. So that's honestly fine. So there's no smurfing, which is chill. So for the scoring system, the victory has 3 versions before the modifiers are applied. Okay, for the scoring system, the base amount of RP, which is ranked points you can win per game, is split up into 3 parts. The first one is overwhelming victory, which you win 25 RP, and that means that you've won with 100% of your base health remaining. The second is just a victory, which is 20 RP, and that's when you win and both sides are pretty evenly matched. And then they have close victory, which you only win 15 RP, which is where you win when your base had 35% base health or less remaining. So for defeat now, we have the regular defeat, which is minus 25, is where you lose without doing any damage to the enemy team. The second is strong defense, which is where you lose 20 RP, where you lose but you've done a little bit of damage. And then lastly, you have close defeat, minus 15. You lost, but you have done at least 65% of the damage to the enemy team. So what I think about these, they do say that you can get modifiers, which will increase the amount that you will gain or decrease the amount you will lose. Oh yeah, so for the modifiers, they do actually have them listed. They have the win streak bonus, so it adds 3 RP for each win in a row, up to 6 extra points per game. That is actually really cool. I really like that feature. That's just going to let you deal with the lower ranks easier if you deserve one of the higher up ones. They also have the kill bonus. You get extra ones for kills up to a cap of 5 points per game. They don't list how many kills it takes for a point, but I like that, honestly. Then you have the solo bonus, which this is just an amazing one. You can always earn up to 4 extra points if queuing solo. I think every single game with rank should have that. That is just an amazing thing that they have done in this game, and I really like how they did that. Okay, and another really cool thing they have this thing called imbalanced protection, which it says, if a game is deemed imbalanced by the player ranks, then the favored team, so the team that has the higher ranks, like I'm going to guess average, but I could be wrong, they will win less and they will lose more if they do lose. And the weaker team will have increased points to win and less points to lose. That is actually really amazing. That just makes it so they essentially killed smurfing. If they do this right and then the favored team loses a lot more compared to like what I'm guessing, which is probably like 5, I mean, that'll just kill smurfing and the game will be honestly so much more fair. Now, there is a requirement for ranked mode. You have to win 10 matches of the 3v3 raid mode. I don't really know how I feel about that. I'm not the biggest fan of 3v3. I played it before, and I honestly like the 5v5 better. I think it's more chaotic, and that just makes it more fun. But, I mean, if you already played the 10 matches before episode 1, it says that you already have the mode unlocked. So, just get your 10 matches in, and then, yeah. Okay, now going on to maps. They say that they are going to change the list of maps every split, and they do this to keep the rotation interesting, but while allowing time to build consistent strategies. So they say the first split will have the maps Kingdom, Summit, and Rivermark, and bases Hellmouth, Smuggler's Den, King's Lair, Soulwell, Frosthold, and Wellspring. And they also note that as more bases get added to the game, they're thinking of having a total of 6 bases in ranked and allow players to master certain bases and build competitive strategies over a split. I really like that. Being able to like build up strategies in this game for the base defense just sounds like amazing. I think it's going to increase the depth and complexity of the game. I think that's just an amazing change. Okay, now for the rewards previously mentioned, it says you will be awarded the frame that matches the rank you achieved in the episode. They say that frames grow in prestige at higher ranks, which is going to be really cool. So it'll show like how many times you've been in that rank, which I'm a big fan of. They say every episode will earn a new themed banner to frame. This episode's theme is Ekon and the Wolf, which will be awarded at the start of Season 3. Okay, so what I feel about this, I do really like this. I think the prestige is really cool. I know I've played games before that have a similar prestige system, and I am a really big fan of it. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so for a smaller change, they're adding a new mountain to the game. They're adding the wolf, and then they're adding the Shadow Wolf skin, which you can get from playing 10 matches of rank. It's cool, it's cosmetic, no, it doesn't hurt anyone. Okay, and now to some of my favorite changes that are coming in this new update. they are updating the gear phase updates. They say that one consistent point of feedback they've heard is that the gear phase needs improvements. And these are the 4 ways they're going to be changing it. The first one is called better POI loot. Red weapon chests in POIs now contain masterwork weapons. Masterwork weapons have improved stats within their rarity, and blue masterworks are better than blues, but still less quality than purple. So these masterworks are exclusive to POIs, and they're going to be better. We don't know by how much, but this is just going to make gearing up better. That is going to spice it up, and it could give you an advantage that ends up with you snowballing a victory. So it's just another bit of depth. No one's complaining. It's a really good change. Next up, they're going to be talking about item chargers. They're going to change it to where instead of having just white barrels that contain ultimate charges, but they don't really like signify or tell people that they could have the charges in them, they're going to have a golden glow around the white barrels. So that will just tell people that they're going to have a ultimate charger. I like this change. I like farming the ultimate charges. It's a very useful item. So being able to get them better is going to be a lot better. The next is they're going to be talking about waypoint markers. They say, when you leave your base in the gear phase, waypoint icons will now guide players towards the points of interest. And they're also going to be pingable, so you can always like com to your team where you're going. That is going to be a very great change. And the map's going to now say that the POIs now contain masterwork weapons and ultimate chargers. Very good change. One of the more tame ones in this section, but very good. You're not going to have to go into your map as much. It'll just tell you where you're going. Also, if you don't know, the POIs are the 3 named locations on the map. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay, now you might have remembered from playing the game, the stone arches that you can go under when you have the shield breaker, and they'll give you a speed boost. They actually talk about these in this. And they say that now, instead of them being active only when a shield breaker is present, they'll always be active. And now it's going to let you get into fights quicker and just speed up the pace of the game. Always a great change. Okay, another small feature, but it's going to be one that a lot of players wanted. They are adding a stats menu to the head wall. Very cool. They're going to add more in the future, like raid, attack, and defense success. And they'll keep expanding this in future episodes. And then next, some really cool ones. They're adding new orange weapon mods. The first one is for the saber rifle called Impact Rounds. It says increased headshot damage with the slower rate of fire, and it fires a 2-shot burst instead of 3, and it has a faster projectile speed. I think this is going to be really good. I think it's going to make the saber rifle one of the best, if not the go-to option, because having that fast projectile speed, being able to hit those shots faster, having the higher damage, and I love 2-burst rifles, these are going to be really good. I'm definitely going to try and get these in a game and use them over other stuff. Next, they're adding a new one for the Vanguard called Drum Mag, which is going to heavily increase its magazine, but slow the reload speed. It's honestly fine. I don't think they could make this gun more annoying, but they somehow managed to do it. Next, a really cool one for the Corsair called Double Shot. It says fire a 12-round burst in each trigger pull. This could either be the best mod in the game, or it could be the worst, depending on how they deal with the recoil. If the recoil is crazy, this could be horrible, but if it's like manageable, this thing's going to shred. So those are very cool. So for the technical updates and gameplay updates, I'm just going to go over the most important ones. They say the defensive phase at the start of the game has been reduced from 60 seconds to 30. That's very good, honestly. The anchor stones, which are the fusel sites and plant sites that instantly kill the enemy team if you finish their planning, have been increased to 80 seconds from 60 seconds. Very good change in my opinion. They now added your kills and assists in the HUD above the minimap. Very good change. I've always wanted to know how I'm actually doing in the midst of the game. They've changed zip lines a little bit, and they've made it so that painted orange weapons now show the perk that it has when you hover over them. There's now an endgame podium, which might be pretty cool, depending on how they do it. That'll show the people with the highest stats on the team. A nice change is that they're going to make it so the trader menu will darken and update if its stat changes, so you don't accidentally buy something right as it's upgrading. They also made it so dead players no longer show up on the minimap, which is going to be a really nice change because it was pretty confusing being able to see a player's orb through the walls. So, good change. They also changed the AFK timer from 5 minutes to 4 minutes, and they updated the fire range a bit. They also had some lobby and menu updates. None of these really mattered too much. It's just good quality of life updates. I'll just show it on the screen for a bit, but I don't think it really needs to be went over. Okay, now we're into a few weapon updates. These aren't very major, but just good things to know that's changing. The Vanguard, they're going to be slowing the rate of fire and raising the damage. The time to kill will be nearly equivalent. It just reduces the number of bullets to kill, and they increase the headshot multiplier. I really like this change. The Vanguard, to me, seemed like kind of a just spammy weapon. So I think this is going to help it just be a little bit more versatile and allow it to secure the kill while in the same time in an easier way. Okay, next for the Longhorn and specifically the Repeater mod, it says that it's going to have less vertical kick and a faster pullout time and sprint pullout time, while lowering the hipfire spread and slowing the spread bloom for hipfire. I don't know how much of a change it's going to be. I do think it's going to be a lot better. I think it's going to be a lot more usable, but I don't know if it's going to increase its usability too much. Okay, next for my gun, the Viper, specifically the impact rounds mod. It says that it's going to slow the mag size and give it more kick. Okay, now depending on how much kick they add, it could make this mod a lot worse than it potentially could be by having a lower kick. It's probably not going to be very valuable for ranged engagements now. It's going to force you to get closer, but it was going to get nerfed. Okay, next we have item update. So these are for the amulets and the saddles. The bomb kit amulet now has its plant time nerfed from 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds. Its diffuse time did not change. I think the diffuse time should have been changed. It just makes you diffuse so fast. The bomb plant time nerf, I think it's very deserved. There's no other way to say that. It is a very valuable amulet. And yes, while you do give up having the ultimate one or the cooldown one, I think this one, just how much value it provides in those scenarios, is just undoubtedly very good. So, good change. Same should be done to the diffuse time. So for the Harvester Amulet, they patched it being able to drop bonus ultimate charges from white supply barrels. If you guys don't know, before this update goes out, if you have the Harvester Amulet and you open a white supply barrel and has an ultimate charge, it will drop multiple. So you can just cycle your ultimates like crazy. Good change. It's going to be needed for the ranked. If they had this during ranked, it would be horrible. And then they just slightly lowered the top speed of the orange saddles. Doesn't really change much. Okay, now for some character updates. Slay's just getting some fixes to his ultimate not dealing damage on uneven surfaces, and just some VFX. Redmayne is getting some good buffs. Tactical will be able to break floors he's standing on, and he'll be able to hit players more reliably. And when he hits a solid surface, it will drop him flash to the ground. I think this might make him better. I'm pretty sure he's like one of the worst characters in the game right now. So hopefully this makes him a little bit better. Mara's getting a small change. She'll be able to use her ultimate when she's on a mount. It will just dismount her instead of giving you an error message. Una's minions will have improved target acquisition speed, so they should shoot at players faster. And they will have smaller hitboxes. They had a glitch where they had larger hitboxes. This could make him potentially a very good character now. He was already good, but this buff might make him amazing. And then just a small fix to Atticus's ult voiceover. Next up, they're going to be adding special quests for each episode. Not out yet. If they have some nice rewards for this, I think it's going to be really cool, especially since they call it difficult. Very good update. And then just some simple bug fixes. I'm just going to leave it on the screen. You can pause and then look at it. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please just subscribe and drop a like if you like this content and you want to see more of it. Comment down below any ideas of videos you want to see, like gun guides, character guide, efficient farming routes, anything like that. Anything cool you'd like to see in this game, drop it in the comments. I'll always consider it. I'll probably make a video on it. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Whoever's watching this video, thank you for your support. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.